What's up, y'all? Today I'm sitting down with Maritza Contreras, a true community organizer, someone who walks the walk. Maritza is the reason that my book is in a high school in Milwaukee. She is a force of nature. Also, this is for all my corporate baddies, for everyone working that 9 to 5, but also has bigger dreams and bigger aspirations. Maritza shows you how to live with that kind of balance and that risk taking.
Surrounding yourself with beautiful humans that allow you to show up as your flaw-filled self that is still, destined to be a love bug,
Enjoy. This is a really fun and exciting conversation that many of you have been asking for. I'll see you on the other side. Peace. And we are live. We start in a very basic, exciting way. Who are you today?
Hello, Chris. My name is Maritza. Nice to be with you again.
Nice to be with you. What's your place in this world? I know you as a change maker. I know you as a disruptor. I know you as a woman in corporate doing like uncorporate like things. I know you as a traveler. Like what would you say is your tag? Who are you today? Yeah, what's your tagline?
The funny part about it is I feel like it's constantly in the space of evolution, right? And I was asked to answer this very question last week. I was hosting Hispanic Heritage Month event in a very corporate space. And what I realized is that the elevator speech, the elevator tagline that I used to have no longer fits and where I am today in life. And so I would just say I'm like in this between space of trying to figure out the rhythm of the beat, right? Like I'm trying to figure out how to describe myself in a way that empowers me but doesn't like limit me or put me in a box. And so we're living and breathing in that space in real time. So who knows, maybe after this conversation I walk away with a tagline of sorts.
Is that fun for you? Is it scary? Is it exciting? Is it to not have an elevator pitch about yourself?
I have the speech that I give when I'm in a community. And so that's the eldest of 5, born to 2 very hardworking Mexican immigrant parents. I love the community that I was born and raised in, and that it's experiencing a lot of fear, and it's existing in a space where they're constantly trying to build a plan for hiding and for what happens in the case that one of your loved ones is picked up from their home. So it's a predominantly Mexican immigrant neighborhood in the city of Chicago. That loves and pours into her people. And then on the corporate aspect, I'm a senior advisor working for an insurance corporate company where I try to create as many spaces as possible to sort of find the sense of belonging in an otherwise deserted space where there aren't many of us. So yes, it's good. And I've been so good at giving you my elevator speech and sharing my story for so long. But in this space of just like raw honesty and really embracing the fear of the unknown and all of the uncertainty, it's exciting. It's a little bit exhilarating because I'm starting to find comfort in how many other people around me also don't know. And that being okay. You know what I mean?
So we've had a decent amount of conversations where you are navigating what it is to use your voice but not use it too much, so that to shake the walls and shake the room but not shake it so much that you tear it down, but kind of tear it down. And to people listening who are in this dance, they want to speak up, they're in corporate, they like their life, they're comfy, they're cozy, but they want to push at the edges. What's the practice? How do you know when too much is too much? Is it just like that's when you get fired? Is it
Right.
what is the game?
It's funny that you asked that because we've been hosting a lot of events during Hispanic Heritage Month at our company, like many other companies, right? It's this month of celebration between September 15th and October 15th. And the constant narrative, sort of the constant takeaway that you get, and number one advice, especially from folks that are very far in their career, is just be authentic. Just be yourself. That's your secret sauce. You being you is your superpower. And it's so easy to come up with your own conclusion, right? And of what that means or what that can mean, especially for you trying to, have career mobility within an organization or within a corporate Fortune 500 company. And what I've realized is, a lot of times I am bringing brownness. I'm the only one bringing brownness, in fact, to these boardrooms, these corporate meetings, these spaces, and these like multi-million-dollar strategic partnership deals that I find great pride in the work, but also it's getting to a space where if we can't be our bubbly selves, like if I can't be my bubbly self, like we're losing it. So like earlier today we were hosting an event, right? And I joked around about like how surreal it is to be talking about what it means to be Latino in corporate spaces when we're experiencing a government shutdown, like in real time. Like it just seems like we're living very different lives, very different silo lives, depending on what spaces you're in.
It's crazy. I mean, it feels, yeah, it doesn't feel, it is an episode of Black Mirror meets Twilight Zone meets, it's delusional the way we have to be delusional.
Exactly. And it was insane because I'm like, man, too many people are drinking the Kool-Aid. It's gotten to the point where like, I don't know what's in that Kool-Aid, but everybody's got to stop drinking it because there's horchata. Like I was saying, but there are so many better options out there. Like we got to start like reimagining and finding joy and protecting that joy in these spaces, because as much as I love to encourage others to show up in these spaces, what I've realized it's through, ironically, bringing books like yours, right? Like browning up into these spaces where we've created a book club. And it's funny how the organic evolution of this book club has really shown up in our intimate conversations with our members. They were able to request, a Kindle version, a hard book, version, and we show up, we talk about chapters, but the conversations that unfold during these moments is beyond my wildest imagination. It goes well beyond the guiding questions. It's permission, because more oftentimes than not, it just takes one person to talk about their story and their journey and how they were born in Brazil, how they were born in Peru. And here, up until this very moment in book club, they've never been able to talk about that part of themselves. It's always been like, I am an engineer, I am a sales leader, I am my role, the role that I play in this ecosystem of corporate America. And I find that scary because, there's so much that we have, there's so much sazon, right? Like what did our man Bad Bunny say about toda la gente quiere ser Latina, pero les falta sazon? Like that's what it feels to be a Latina in corporate America.
Yeah, bodies of culture, right? They want our culture, not our color. So you are like the epitome. You have more kind of awards and nominations than I can name. You're always like, oh, I got nominated for this thing. Oh, I'm the 30th under 30. I'm this thing. I'm in like this list. What's driving you to be a change maker in your community, in other communities? Is it just to keep getting the accolades? Like what's the drive that keeps saying, I want to show up here? You transparently, everyone listening, like you brought my book to a high school out in Milwaukee. You made it happen, right? You connected with the principal, connected with the professor. You're there on the ground. You have you're the lynch point. What drives you to do it, to keep doing this work?
Yeah, well, so like I shared, right? So being the oldest of 5, like I feel like I was raised in this country with my parents. Like we did this together, right? And so like that's my number one accolade in this lifetime. It's like seeing how far my siblings have gotten, right? Because we talk about the blueprint, we talk, and actually I heard something earlier today that said in the world of women empowerment, it's the pink print. And I was like, I like that better. I'm going to adapt. But it's this idea that like you learn the game and then you proceed to pass it on, right? And what I wish I would have known when I was that age was it's okay to experience joy. It's okay not to always be on survival and always like be stressing about the next thing. And when we came together, had the pleasure of knowing you for a couple of years, but the folks that we surround ourselves with, they have a ton of accolades. So they've accomplished so much. And time again, they speak on A, burnout, and B, this idea that like you reach that milestone that you set for yourself. And once you get there, you're like, okay, on to the next thing. Like you don't even allow yourself the space or the moment to celebrate that and to sit in it and to sit in the moment of joy and be like, you know what, I'm gonna experience this too. Like no todo tiene que ser difícil. Not everything has to be a struggle. And it took me a long time to figure that one out. And so by the time I figured out, you know, because I have to be transparent too, right? Like the idea of being honored and recognized as like one of the, you know, 40 leaders in this business community, being from my immigrant family, like that was something that I had on my bucket list for some time. And then when it finally came, the desire to be on that in that stage changed, and it was solely because what was happening in this country. I'm like, you know, they can't have me, the corporate Mari, without embracing the immigrant kid from Pilsen Mari. And that was a moment where things changed for me. And what I mean by that is like I had like 40 people with me in this big auditorium that were there, you know, all walks of life. My family, my uncle, who's like the patriarch, first one to come into this country from Mexico, my mentors that flew in from, you know, Miami, Atlanta, just all of these human beings that have been with me every step of the way, but also like know how much I love my family. My sister was amazing. She had these little heads of mine, but more importantly, these little Mexican flags we passed along, and cowbells, which let me tell you, there wasn't very many in this auditorium. It's a very traditionally like archaic white corporate space. And here we are, you know, everybody gets a walk-up song. Mine was a mariachi song. The way that like, you know, the mariachi drops, and I have never seen my father cry. Okay. And in that moment, everyone could not stop talking to me and sharing videos. Like, granted, were, you know, are such a special keepsake for me now, but of my parents, the look in my parents' eyes when they realized, like, oh shit, like I think our daughter's a big deal. Like, oh my God, like wait, that's our girl. Like we claim her. And so it was a moment of liberation. And so when we did this beautiful activation in the south side of Milwaukee that is also very diverse by nature. I mean, we're talking about a high school that has hundreds and hundreds of kids. It's a public school in the heart of the Latino community in Milwaukee, but it also is the house to a lot of refugee students that come, that don't speak a lick of English, that are learning, that I see myself in, right? They're trying to navigate this country with their parents for the very first time too. And how do we yeah, on one end, like we're trying to tackle like reading, national reading levels, and sort of promote literacy in that way, and then the other, we're trying to create safe space where we give them permission to just be themselves, right? And that was the beauty of you and the all Latino cast that came together to make this magic happen in Milwaukee. And I mean, you saw it, right? Like you had kids from all walks of life, some that didn't even speak a lick of English, coming up to you towards the end, because obviously outside of the signature in the photo, they were just excited that like somebody was talking their language, that somebody would say something that like they were like, finally, not somebody talking at me, like somebody talking with me. And I feel like that's all I've ever wanted. And I didn't even know I wanted that until I was an adult, you know, like, wait a minute, like you're telling me that you can be X, Y, and Z. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't see it anywhere, right? And so this is just going back to like what you've said since day one of like what it means to have representation in these rooms.
Not someone talking at me, someone talking with me. And that even as adults, that's what we want. And we might not even claim that. And maybe we've been spoken at so much that we think our only way of being is that we have to be people who speak at versus folks who speak with, you know, community versus self. Okay, so you said you burn out. Yeah, 100%. You're a hustler. Hustlers experience burnout. But you said you saw people, we both know people, I'm one of them, who don't enjoy the thing when it arrives. So you do enjoy the thing when it arrives?
It's a work in progress, you know, like I try to sit in this moment and really celebrate. I think it's the people that you surround yourself with, right, that sometimes force you to slow down enough to celebrate a moment or help you celebrate even when you don't think it's worthy of celebrating. But it's funny, right? Because when we reflect on these nuggets, these moments of stillness, like in the midst of all this chaos, it's really like, why am I struggling with being celebrated? Like, why? I'm really comfortable. Yo, I thrive in survival, but celebration, it's it's something that, you know, even saying out loud, I know it sounds crazy, but it's real because you're constantly wanting to level up, because if you don't, you feel like the weight of your parents' sacrifice is in vain. And like I can never afford to feel that way. And so I mean, it's taken a lot of unlearning, even, you know, sort of those cultural pieces. And My therapist once told me, she was like, who's like, where is this coming from, right? Like, basically, is it self-inflicted, or is it your parents that are telling you you got to do X, Y, and Z? And when I finally realized, it was like a moment of like, man, my parents have never asked me to do any of this. They just said, try your best, right? And I took that and I ran with it. And I was like, the weight of their future is on my shoulders. I have to accomplish all of these things. And finally, just, oh my gosh, surrounding yourself with beautiful humans that allow you to show up as your flaw-filled self that is still, destined to be a love bug.
I think we don't. I haven't said this out loud before, but here's what I think. I think we do not. We have a hard time celebrating ourselves because we're afraid that there's some correlation between celebration of a win
Mm.
and stopping. Like there's something about moment, like because we have been so conditioned to go 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 go. Like there's
Right.
no training in stopping, right? Death. And even we don't think that's going to happen,
Mm.
like that to celebrate, you actually have to stop.
Yeah.
You have to receive.
Yeah.
You
It's the
have to stop.
but it's so hard, isn't it? Right? Like, because you feel like you gain this momentum and you have to hit the ground running. You have to keep going at the speed of light, because what if you lose it? And we don't necessarily like,
That's the question.
you
What if
know,
you lose it? Which is a crazy, scary myth, and like that's what they want us to believe. You're gonna lose it if you don't keep going, 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 going.
exactly. And the funny part about it is that I had two of my goals, right, that like essentially came true in the first 2 quarters of this year. And the way that my first initial thought was, yo, I have to use this momentum
Mm,
for it to propel me onto this next chapter, this next season of life. It's going to set me up for X, Y, and Z. And months went by, and finally my friends are like, yo, you never hosted anything. Like, we never celebrated you. Like, you just had moments where like friends got together, sure, but it was just like, in my mind there was no time to waste. Like, I needed to use all of this to, like, like, what is the video arcade game, right, where like the balls come in and you're just like getting ready to like fling it so that it goes like as far as possible, and you're trying to be as strategic and as intentional and you're locked in. That's what it feels like.
yeah.
And you forget that you're playing a game to begin with.
Mm,
You're so locked in that one particular space of the game.
yeah. What are you What are you excited about? You seem excited. You seem sort of joyous. And what are you excited about? Can you name it? Yeah.
Oh, Lord have mercy. I'm excited to uh, really slow down. I mean, I haven't slowed down in a while, and I'm
But will
finally,
you actually?
will I actually? Well, that's the $1 million question that I'm trying to figure out in real time. I think, when I say slow down, what I've realized for me, it means create spaces to not only strategize. I get really good at, like, I have my personal board of directors. We get together and we talk about our 3-year plan, our goals. They're separated by, the 5 F's, and fun, fitness, finances, family. And I thrive in that space. But what I've been unlearning and relearning is like the slowing down for yourself, by yourself, and like having those moments of reflection. So like not always creating it as and positioning it as this like space of like, it's strategy. It's gonna take me to the next level. It's gonna help me do X, Y, and Z. It's just, I'm just grateful for these waves.
Mm,
I'm just grateful for the sunrise. It's beautiful. And sitting still and getting uncomfortable with the stillness and the silence and the break from being in a city and being surrounded by people all the time. Because what I realized about myself is like, I'm an extrovert. I love being surrounded by people. I love being surrounded by family and music, but it was a coping mechanism, right? Because to be still, to be truly still, to be truly silent is to sit with your own self, your own thoughts, including your intrusive ones. And those like moments where you're doubting yourself, where you're spiraling right into like the abyss of what could be what missed opportunities there were, but I'm starting to sort of really take up more space, like kick those intrusive thoughts out and take up more space and be like, wow, like life is good.
Mm.
Life is really good. So solo traveling is the way that I've been able to really accomplish that. And it's been, oh my gosh, it's been one of the biggest gifts that I've ever given myself.
I mean, you're speaking my language. Solitude is I think the most medicinal. Solitude with understanding, not solitude as escapism. Like, but actually going in and being with yourself can be one of the most powerful tools we have for checking in. I love
Yeah.
that you said this personal board of directors.
Yeah.
Is this real people, or is this like your higher self? Like,
Great question. No, it's real people. So think, it's for every aspect of who, in my case, like who knows me as Mari, right? It's my childhood friends that have known me. Literally, our parents, one in particular, right? Like our parents were pregnant at the same time. They're from the same rancho, and somehow managed to settle in the same city block of Chicago. Still can't for the life of me figure that one out.
that's crazy.
It's someone that's known me my entire life. It's someone that's known me from high school. It's someone that's known me from college. They're not all Latinos too. That's the beauty, and that's really the secret sauce of this. It's people that are intended to have different journeys that sit in this room. I never actually have gathered all of them. I've gathered most of them during certain milestones in my life to celebrate. But I'm talking, during high school, I had an attorney who was a white Jewish woman. In, college, I had a professor that was this black, gorgeous, brilliant bubble of joy. And later on in life, my brother from another mother, he's first generation Haitian in this country too. And so like you get all of these diverse humans that know different parts of me, different chapters, that when it comes to making a big life decision or when life feels incredibly overwhelming, those are the people that I call on. And they're not going to be the people that are going to tell you what you want to hear, right? Like those are the people that if you need to feel good, you know who you call, right? Like, you know who you could just chop it up, turn your brain off, and like, oh, I love you. We're soul sisters. We're just like created to be on this earth and to coexist. And I love those humans too. They're important. They play a role. And then there are others that really hold up the mirror and tell me the truths I don't necessarily want to hear, or maybe I'm not even ready to hear. But the combination, really, the collective of this board is what helps me stay true to me, to like the inner Mari in me that I've always wanted to like protect and uplift and amplify. So not losing sight of her while still honoring sort of this like corporate season of myself and what that looks like. It's taken me a while, but I mean, this board of directors, it's like every other governing board for any Fortune 500 company, for them to be profitable, for them to have, have a healthy, balance sheet, but also to have good retention, right? Like a good reputation, not only in the community and brand visibility, but also retention of their employees, because it's a great place to be.
Where did you learn? I love this. Where did you just kind of built this in your time, or you learned, did someone be like, you need a personal board of directors? Like,
I heard someone talking about they call it like like trustees. They had this group of board of trustees is what they called it, right? And I just remember thinking like, well, I don't necessarily know very many trustees, but board of directors, I feel like, is very universal. So then when I started, I used to manage this portfolio when I first started this company for colleges and universities. So a lot of the scholarship programs that I built from the ground up were working with first generation students. And it's so much of myself, like, that I would see in them. They're trying to figure out the system. They're trying to figure out FAFSA for their first time, especially if they were high school seniors that were graduating, applying to a ton of colleges. And the conversations with the parents, I mean, I had been out of college for a long time, but they're the same ones that I was having, right? It's like, my mom doesn't want me to move out of the state or out of the city. She wants me to commute because she doesn't want me to move outside of the house, right? Like, man, deja vu. And so I just started talking so much about this idea, this like notion of having a personal board of directors, and they started building it, right? And I started sitting on some of these boards for some of these students, and it's a game changer because you treat it like it's another asset. Like you treat it like it's something else that you have in your back pocket, and whenever you feel, whether it's the darkest space and season you've ever been, and you are like, I've had moments where I can't stop crying. I can't even necessarily articulate to you why I'm crying, but I'm just sad right now. I just want to cry. I'm feeling a lot of things, and I have people that I call specifically for that. And then I have others that I'm like, man, I'm not ready to face the truth, but like, I know I gotta hear it. I gotta hear it. So, I know who I'm scheduling a coffee chat with. And it's this idea that like you're never alone on this journey, right? Like you have this orbit of people that love on you and they want to see you win. But it's gonna take this like insane group of humans that have met different seasons of you that can give you different perspectives and are going to hold you accountable, and you're going to continue to level up in a way that's not exclusive to like your corporate game, right? Like it's also like what happens when you want to start a family, what happens when you're going through a divorce, like what happens when you are not getting the rating in the work and somehow it makes you feel like the world is falling apart. Because the fun fact, corporate America has ridiculous ratings, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 being good job, you're gonna stay
Wait,
employed.
for the people, they literally rate you?
Yeah, performance evals, absolutely. At the end of the year, mid-year, and after the first year. But it's something that I wish more people talked about. But it's one is you're in big trouble, buddy. You are not meeting the requirements that you're meant to do in this role. You're probably gonna get fired. Pretty. 2 is, you did some things, but there's some shortcomings, so we're gonna probably put you on a performance improvement. 3 is you did what you were supposed to do. Good job. You are still employed. You managed to see another year. 4 is outstanding. Like you went above and beyond your role. You, for example, did things outside of your job description, and you are in a BRG. You led this initiative internally. 5 is, and I quote, transformational. 5 is you've really done some things internally, and you're not going to stay in that role for long, because if you're transformational, you're getting fast tracked to a bigger sort of leadership position. But the reality is that that rating dictates your annual raise. So 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%. 3% if you do your job, 5% if you're transformational of your annual salary. I was like, that is what you can dream. And then it turns out those never happen. Those never get distributed. They're like very taboo. And so if you're lucky, the unspoken rule is that there can only be one throughout the department that gets the 4. Everyone gets the 3. Like everyone gets the 3. And so, you think about like these limitations, that's frustrating too. I'm like, listen, I've been giving transformational all year. What are you talking about? I have a 3, right? So like, but those are the conversations that I can't call my mom. I can't call my friends, right? Like they're not in this corporate space. Like I have to call someone, in my Rolodex, the personal board of directors that understands the game and can walk me through and help me strategize with like how to proceed from that one, but also if my dad's really sick, the person I'm going to call is going to look different for that too.
Mm-hmm. To the people listening who work in these so-called, maybe classically called 9-to-5s, corporates, and maybe they are experiencing that burnout, do they keep going? What's some tips? What's the fight? Maybe they're not being heard. What are some things you can say?
Yeah, keep going. Quitting first and foremost. Find people that breathe life into you in these spaces. Like work friends are real. They're meant to help keep you sane, and they also understand what you're living through every single day because they're living it through, right, to some degree. I'd say there is so much game to be learned from the traditional 9-to-5 is set to position you for your next level up, right? Like whatever that looks like for you. So if it's to, you have this income so that you can spend more time with your family, if that's your number one priority, then you can build accordingly. If it's to, this is going to be the seed, the foundation for me to start a business or to build a real estate portfolio and invest in accounts that are traditionally exist outside of a Fortune 500 companies. So like outside of your 401k matching program, if they have that, the pension plan, which are almost non-existent, these days in these spaces, and also like Roth IRAs. Like, what does that look like? for you to invest and build and either live a comfortable life because that's your number one priority, or you want to kickstart your business, your hustle, something that you're really passionate or creative about. I don't believe when people say that you have to love your job. I used to drink that Kool-Aid, but I switched over and I'm so glad I did. It's like the moment you realize you're lactose intolerant and you stop drinking milk, it's over with, and you feel much better. You feel lighter.
That's cool. I just want to put that on blast because I've done a lot of these interviews and I don't think anyone ever said you don't have to love your job.
Yeah, you don't. And it took me a long time to realize that, right? It's okay for a job just to be a job, for a job to serve a purpose of like, I am trying to be, a contributing member of society. I'm trying to just go to work, come back and be at my, child's soccer games, or be able to just pick up and leave and take a impromptu trip to Colorado today. Like whatever joy looks like for you, there's ways to create that life for yourself. It's just really figuring out the system. It's like once we learn the rules to the game, you then surround yourself with people that can share or maybe build upon. But like at the end of the day, like it's okay. It's really okay if you don't love your job. It could just be a paycheck, and that can help you create the life that you really do love.
Cool. That's great. That's a beautiful one. Do you have a North Star? You don't have to. Is there a goal? Is there a thing you're aiming for?
Yeah, it looks different, right? For a long time, the North Star was always, I have to retire my parents. I am their 401k plan. They don't have one. And so I feel that great sense of responsibility, and sort of like that was my North Star. But what I realized is that joy along the way is just as important, right? So like reimagining and putting into words in a very different way what it means to honor my ancestors, like what it means to really build legacy. So yes, wealth legacy is tremendously important, right? To live a comfortable life, to maybe be able to have more resources to help with your aging parents, especially when the child becomes a parent later on in life. But also, sometimes I find myself in spaces where I'm like, I am in Morocco. I don't think any of the women in my lineage before me would have ever in a million years imagined themselves outside of the world that they knew to be theirs, right? They're in the rancho, there's no electricity, there's no running water. Like those are the stories that I know about both my grandmothers, may they rest in paradise, right? Like they never in a million years had the rights to even open up a bank account. Like they didn't have money, right? And I'm over here just taking impromptu trips. And so I'll stop myself during like certain moments and be like, wow, I can't even say I am my ancestors' wildest dreams, because I really don't think they had the ability to dream like to such extent, and to think like, yeah, you know what, my granddaughter is about to
Go
go
to
on,
Morocco.
right? She's about to just fly all over the place. And one of the big ones too, it's the learning and unlearning the Catholic guilt that comes with all of this, because that's also real in Latino families. But we're doing it, baby. We're doing it.
That's a beautiful one. I am beyond even my ancestors' wildest dreams.
Yeah.
As we start to wrap up, any questions for me? Any big ideas you want to share? Anything? Any last words? How people can hang out with you, know more about you, go to Morocco with you? Any of the above?
I've been exploring this idea with colleagues, right? Like outside of the traditional data that I can help garner internally, working with analytics and working with certain departments to sort of create and amplify some of the Latino talent in these corporate spaces. You've had so many wonderful connections through your life from different walks of life. What does it look like, when we hear, so while we're teaching folks that diversity matters, I mean, we were just talking about this earlier, it often skips the brownness. So diversity is great, but we don't have an advocate or a translator for our brownness. Like what tips, like what golden nuggets do you give me as I like continue showing up in these spaces, and also just people around us?
You're asking me that. Wow. Grateful.
Proud enough. Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Golden nuggets. I think you're living it. I don't believe I speak to people, right? The people I invite to have conversations with in my life are my board of directors or trustees. Like I I honor their genius because I see their genius and I see you living these practices, asking these questions, being curious, taking risk, uh, pushing at the edges. And this is the work, and it's not everybody's work. It's some people's work. Uh, and you are, I believe, embodying the work of being the ancestors' wildest dreams, being beyond that, also like giving a deep, like caring deeply and also not giving a fuck. Like both are required. It's
Yeah.
just a job, but also I can use this job to help, youth on the south side of Chicago. Like I you're sort of transcending what it means to be, the immigrant kid from Pilsen uh and the woman in the 9 to 5 getting threes and fours, and even fives, but working like a five. I think you're embodying it. I think this is it. Like these conversations to me are really important. And I know that many people listening to this will get medicine from you. But man, if one of them, and I know one of them will be like, oh shit, it's just a job. I'm going to use it to do this, or I'm going to have that really hard conversation, uh, I know that's going to happen. And so you are embodying it, and that's why you're here. And I'm grateful for my community, and I'm grateful for what this conversation has begun. I think it's just begun. I think the book's conversation has just begun. I think it was even deeper than I even knew about it, and we're just getting into it, um, and yeah, we're all just trying to provide spaces so that people can feel seen and loved and like deeply, deeply valued. Yeah.
But isn't it such a thought provoking? I mean, it's almost like a disruptive moment when you sit with that, that you creating these spaces and finding that balance between I care so deeply and I don't give a fuck, right? Like you finding that balance is what creates space for others and like gives permission, whether it's out loud or in the quiet spaces that they exist in. Like that's what is the real game changer here. Like I don't think I would be this bold and this unapologetic if it wasn't for the people that I've met along the way, a lot of which I've had the blessing of meeting through the hive. um and it's this idea of like, man, I remember the first hive, the first Latino hive that you and I are a part of, right? But the first one, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, man, I don't think anybody knows what they're doing. I think everybody just goes through life and is just really trying to figure it out. Everyone that holds these like very high positions in the 9 to 5s or are creators and creatives, and they've built so many beautiful, authored books or have been in these movies, and everybody is just equally like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to figure it out like you, right? But that moment of validity was a game changer because I was like, yo, maybe I'm not meant to be as quiet or as humble. I think that's the one that I really struggled with as I have been. Like, why? Like, what makes this person qualified more than us? I mean, and not by any means to get too political, but if we have who we have for this president, if that individual can, a convicted felon can become president of this country, then I don't really know who's going to stop us.
I mean,
Who and
a
when.
freaking men, take that note, this sort of wild audacity that you are capable of becoming anything you want. Like, and if you believe it more than anyone else, that's some serious sauce. Serious sauce. To people listening, we met at the Hive. We have an episode about the Hive, so just Google, Brown Enough the Hive, and you'll hear about this incredible gathering for Latino creatives of all kinds out in Napa. It's really, really dope. You should come if you're listening. You can hear that whole episode. You're probably featured in that episode. I think a bunch of people are featured in that episode, including the founder, Richard. I want to close it off with what you just said. It's the wild audacity, yes, but it's also everyone is doing their best. No
Mm-hmm.
one has it figured out. The person you admire, like that's why the board of trustees or the board of,
Yes.
the personal board of directors is so magical because we're all just walking each other home. Like no one has it figured out. And we really start to suffer when we think that this one person has it better than me or knows it better than me. I promise you, the person who has more cash in their pocket as you suffers as deeply as you. And the
Yeah.
person who has more love, or maybe a really fresh romance, and you're like, where's my romance? They're also suffering. Like it's all in different ways, and we're all suffering together, and that's why it is a communal liberation. Like we ain't free until we're all free. We're all just walking each other home.
I love it. I love it, and it's so real. I mean, we have to make T-shirts, Chris, and and just really liberate the people. I mean, truly, especially with freeing and the desire to free Palestine. But I couldn't agree more, and that's what it is. It's the moment that you realize that all your friends, everyone you love, everyone you admire, the mentors, the executives, in order for you to achieve something, you sacrifice something else. And ultimately, in bringing each other home, you really have to just ask yourself, like, really, what will be your north star, your guiding star is what matters to you. Like, what truly, when you sit with yourself in the stillness and all its ugliness and all its beauty, what matters to you? What
Well,
makes you
that's what we're gonna. Yeah, what matters to you?
I I think that it's the people, my village. Like I am such a people person, and it goes well beyond being classified as an introvert or an extrovert. Um, Neurotypical or neurospicy, as I've heard, which I am definitely, sort of identifying myself in. It's the people. It's the opportunity. Quality time is real for me, and so when I meet folks and they share their story, and I'm able to share mine, and whether it's with you drinking wine in Napa Valley, or I was on the island of the indigenous community of Gunayala off the coast of the country of Panama. We don't necessarily speak the same dialect, but love is love. And so some languages, especially emotion, it's universal. And so it's those moments that I'm like, I need to believe in the love and the kindness of humanity, because if I don't, I really will leave. I will stray away into the not caring enough. But it's the caring, it's the caring deeply. That's what's gonna keep you motivated and keep you going. And while simultaneously, like, you indulge in that glass of wine, like you take that vacation, right? Like you earned all of the joy and all of the celebration, as much as you've survived and as much as you have um, also been accountable. Like those things are important too, but your people, like
Mm.
that's it. What about you? What's yours?
Amen. What's my North Star? My North Star these days is less me. I'm in the phase of I have meed myself so well, like I have efforted for me, I have done things for me, and it has benefited others. But now I really am just trusting that, like, the more I undo myself, the more I can really do for others, and that has been serving me really, really well. It gets me out of myself, and I'm happier when I'm not thinking about myself.
How do you undo yourself?
That's that's the great work. That's the great work.
That's a lifelong adventure. Got
That's
it.
the great work. Like you just. My meditation teacher always says you're never more selfish than when things aren't going your way.
Mm,
I want this. I need this. I crave this. I grasp this. I desire this. We're always putting I before it. And so I like to ask, what do we desire? What are
mm,
we craving? What are we wanting and needing? We, us. Uh, and so for me, it's a daily practice. It's like a real practice. It's like I know when I'm being me.
yeah.
I feel it. I feel the graspiness. Oh, why didn't I get that? I should have that. That should be me. Why isn't this thing? It's all fucking me related, like, and I suffer less when I'm less meanness. Yeah.
That's so real. I'm gonna put that in my back pocket. It's a your point for everyone that's listening. We're getting ready to host you for book club, the culmination of book club, and all of these readers who have read your book. They've read Brown Enough. They've worked with the guiding questions, and they are going to be in for such a treat when they meet you. And this idea of like undoing and self-awareness to the point where you can better serve others, like that's where we're going to start. It's going to be magical.
I'm so grateful for you. Thank you very much.
Gracias. Mil
Wow.
gracias.
That's our time, y'all. I can't wait to hear what you think. Please send us any thoughts or ideas to brownenoughproductions@gmail.com. I will talk to you soon. See you next week. Peace.